okay? I've got two colors. I've got this Bahama blue, and then I have the sea breeze. All right, we're gonna do just white with a tiny bit of Bahama blue on the top. And on the bottom, I'm gonna be using Solex underneath my Driftwood and a little bit of clear. So I'm gonna use white at the bottom, like to simulate the water, and just a little bit of both of these colors on the bottom, and our glass is gonna be sitting on top of that. Hey, Kathy, where have you been, honey? Where you been? So let's go ahead and just get started with that. You can get started with the painting, and then you can be surprised about some of the other tidbits. We'll just share as we have to, right? Because we are gonna make something super fun. All right, so I'm gonna grab a paintbrush. This is like a 1-inch brush. And I'm gonna put some white on. Excuse me. I'm gonna put a little bit of white and then a little bit of both of these colors. I really need to retire this white because it is a little icky. But y'all know how it is. It's like, I gotta use it all. Gotta use it all. So this is Sea Breeze. It's kind of a greeny blue, kind of the color of sea glass, actually. Hey, Barbara. Working on the road. I understand that. So a little bit, oh, that's thick. A little bit of that color. That's the kind of a green sea glass look. And then this is called Bahama Blue. And it's just a little bluer. Very beachy colors, all right? We're gonna obviously start with white because I want this very minimal. I just want a light, slight background. And I'm gonna try to work upside down. And so this would be our water. And I'm only gonna come up with my water about 2 inches. I'm gonna go ahead and bring some of the white up a little further. I'm gonna get that out of there. About 1/3 of the way with my white. Then I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna get just, with my dirty brush. Thank you, Becky. I'm gonna just get a tiny bit, see that? Tiny, tiny bit of that Sea Breeze on my brush, and I'm gonna go left and right. And see how I'm holding my brush? I'm not holding it upright. I'm holding it kind of flat. And I'm just gonna scooch it left and right, leaving a few skippies. Then I'm gonna go right in to the other color, which is the Bahama Blue. Just a little. And we're gonna do the same thing. All right, I'm gonna wipe a little bit of that off. Then I'm gonna go back into my white, just a little, and we're gonna come right over the top and just make a few little white spots on top of the blue, kind of like, you know, sea foam or whatever. All right, now I'm gonna wipe that off and I'm gonna do the rest of my canvas in white. Ugh. And then we're gonna just add a little bit of the bluer color to the sky. Very minimal color. Got little dried up paint giblets all in this. Let me just toss it, toss it. All right, white all the way up. Now I'm gonna wipe off a little bit of the excess. I'm gonna grab just this blue. This is the Bahama Blue for our sky. And I'm just gonna kind of do the same thing. I want it very minimalistic. That's a little more blue than I wanted. So I'm just gonna kind of spread it up. And I'm just using the flat side of my brush, almost flat on my canvas. And I'm just gonna I'm gonna get just a tiny bit more and just bring that up all the way to the top. This is gonna be your sky. Now I'm gonna break up that line a little bit because we have a lot of horizontal lines here. So I'm gonna get a little bit of white, look at there, kind of load the side of that brush. And I'm just gonna come in and smush in some of that white just to break up my lines a little and create some really simple faux clouds, right? These are my kind of cloud paintings. All right, here we go. All right, now let's get this dry. Super simple, easy peasy, very little painting, nothing to it. Let's get it dry. And what's happening with my cordage? Let's get her dry, and then we can move on to the good stuff. Yeah, I just add a little water. I don't add it to my paint bottle. I just add it as I'm using it. Thank you, Kathleen. We do have a winner, and I actually screenshot it onto my phone, and now I'm using my phone. So after our live, unless Kristen or Courtney is watching and remembers who our paintbrush winner was, I'll have to announce that after my live because I screenshot it and circled it on my phone and now I can't look at it. Is that not typical? Typical. All right, we'll let that cool a second. I'm gonna turn the heat down. Oh, that's up. So I'm still kind of drying, but not so much heat. All right, so we have our little bit of water, and this is just a very mute sky with a little bit of a cloud, just barely can see it. All right, so now here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna be putting our driftwood onto our art piece, all right? Like, I need to turn it this way just for a second so I have 3 pieces of driftwood. I'm gonna turn it so I can figure out where I want it and then I'll turn it back around. All right, so I've picked 3 pieces that lay really nice and flat. All right, I didn't want anything that protruded up too much. I can't even remember. I can't remember, Marla, but I'll tell you. I have asked the girls in the back 10 times what the number was, and they got sick of me asking. All right, so we have 3 little pieces of driftwood that are kind of sitting on top of our water. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna get a little bit of Solex. It was 600 something. I do know that it was 600 something. I just don't know exactly. So I'm gonna add a little bit of Solex. Now you see why I chose those paint colors. And I'm gonna come up into my driftwood just a little. And then we're gonna add a little bit of clear. Just because I like to mix things up. So Solex, now we have clear, which is the color that is has just the tiniest bit of green tint to it. So let's get a handful of that. All right, just about that much. Whoops, what do you think you're doing? Trying to decide how I want that to sit. All right, just add some clear. That's too big. To the top of that, and I'm gonna come up maybe a 1/2 inch or so into our driftwood right between those little pieces. Let's just add a little fun. And you could use blue, you could use whatever colors glass you wanted. I don't know why I'm suddenly obsessed with the Solex color. It's like all I want to use is Solex. Let's make something with Solex. I ordered them from a wholesaler because we use them in our kits sometimes. We've used them in several of our challenge kits. And so I bought like thousands. You buy lots so you can get the best price. All right, I'm gonna put that great big piece like right there. I like it. All right, so now we have our driftwood kind of sticking out of, hang on, I'm gonna change. I need to plug in my iPad. So give me 1 second. I can't find the place to plug it. Oh, that's the wrong plug. I'm gonna lose it. All right, so Starfire is crystal clear. I'll show you. Starfire is crystal clear and has no color whatsoever. And clear, I know, and I didn't name these things, guys. I didn't name them. Clear has a slight blue-green hue, right? So this is clear, and this is Starfire. Just the slightest bit of color in the clear, all right? Can you tell? It's hard to tell, and if you're doing art, sometimes you just don't even know the difference. So you can see this one has a little tiny hint of green, and then this is clear. Right, so let me push this back. And, okay, so here's what we're gonna do. This is so cute, but it does need a little something, doesn't it? So I've brought my handy bucket of shells. So we're gonna add just a few small shells. Look, you guys, look what's laying right on top. Can you see that? Can you see that little shell? Oh my goodness, it's like a little fossil. I'm gonna put that right in there. I'm just gonna add a couple of shells just because. And I'm just kind of scavenging through. And I'm also gonna add a couple of pieces of sea glass. So let me see what I want. I'm gonna put this one right at the bottom of that piece of driftwood so you can't see the driftwood ends. That's what we'll do. I want some baby ones. Oh, look at this one. This is one of my favorites with a little hint of blue. So we'll add that right in here. Look how pretty. Minimalistic, very minimal. Let's see if we want to add any more. I'm trying to find some things that are a little different, but they're also small. Just a massive bucket. It was a piece of coral. Let me see what else I got. I want something different. Oh, that one's fun. Look at that. Very textury. So I think we'll add that one right in there. And I think I'm gonna keep that right there like it is. So we'll be ditching the rest of these shells. Just some little babies. We are gonna add some driftwood. Not driftwood, some sea glass. But we're gonna wait. Here's some sea glass, some little tiny bits. And I have a couple of other little sea glass pieces as well. Try to grab them out of my bin. I have a sea glass bin too, but it's too heavy to pick up. Hold on. Just a couple of little nuggets of sea glass. We have to add those at the end because if you put resin over the top of sea glass, then the bubble remover is on hold because my machine is broken, right? So you're gonna stay tuned for that. They're gonna have to send me a different one. All right, so now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna add a little something to the top of one of my pieces of driftwood. I gotta turn it my way so I can see what I'm doing, and then I'll turn it back. So what I'm gonna do is add a little bird, right? And this piece, that's just a rock, okay? That's just a flat stone that we're gonna add to the tippy top of one of these pieces. I think this one in the middle. And then this is just a stone that's flat that is black, okay? It's kind of a charcoal black color. So that's gonna be his wing. So to do this, hang on. You know what, I think, let me look at something real quick. Almost would rather, let's decide between the stone or a piece of sea glass. That doesn't show up because it's white, and that's too much. All right, we're gonna stick with our stone. While we're waiting, while we're doing this, I'm gonna take just a little drop of glue on my little bird, just the tiniest drop. And you could do birds on all of these if you wanted to. I'm just doing the one. And I'm gonna put his little wing right there, and we're gonna be letting that dry while we continue. Now what I do at the top to my glue, oh my gosh, that's how crazy I am, y'all. Oh, there it is, right on top, right on the glue. Holy moly. Y'all, that's what you call a hot mess. Hot mess, right? So, we're gonna do a cute little bird right on top, but he's gotta have feet and a beak, right? Hey Marie. So I'm just gonna use my pen and put some little legs right there on the tip top of that one piece of driftwood. Then I'm gonna kind of situate it. My bird is acting crazy. Let's situate it where I want it, and then I'm gonna add a beak. And a tiny bit of an eyeball. I'm gonna move it over, give him a little tiny bit of an eyeball. We'll fill that beak in. Voila. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. I've got to move my driftwood off to resin because I don't want to put resin on top of my driftwood. I know, it was actually on the glue too. That's how crazy I am. All right, so I'm gonna take off my little bird. We're gonna let him dry. Hopefully, he doesn't wanna act right. His wing wants to move. We're gonna let him dry. And I'm gonna wiggle my driftwood out. We'll rearrange it when we need to. But we're gonna put our resin on. Then we're gonna lay our driftwood back down. We'll squinch it in. And then we'll put our other giblets on, all right? See, I had to place my driftwood so I'd know where to put my birdie, right? Yeah, nail polish, that's a good idea. Because it'd be easier to find. That's how smart I am. Figured that out on my own. Not. All right, so I am just gonna mix 1 ounce of resin. I think 1 ounce will be plenty. I have literally been the queen of under mixing lately. So I'm wondering if I should do 1.5 ounces. That probably might take All right, I'm gonna put my gloves on while I think about it. So we're gonna actually put our resin on our glass all the way up, and then we'll layer driftwood in to the resin, and we'll add some seaglass and put our little rock bird up there, and it'll be super fun. Super fun. I'm wondering if I should put a little bit of color on that beak, just the tiniest bit of like orange. Do I have an orange marker? Do I have an orange marker? Oh, I might. That looks red. Hang on. Let me see. Yeah, you can't even tell. That was pointless because you can't even tell because it was black. Yeah, don't do that. Or maybe just do it orange. Okay, so let's go ahead and mix resin. I am going to mark my cup. Thank you, Catherine. I'm gonna scooch this up while I do my thing. And I'm gonna go ahead and mix 1.5 ounces, and I promise you, we're gonna have too much. We'll see. I'm not gonna promise because I could be lying. So let's do our hardener. 3/4 ounce hardener and 3/4 ounce resin. And then we're gonna mix for 3 minutes, and Catherine's gonna time me. See that driftwood leaves debris. So I'm gonna stir, and while I'm stirring, if anybody has a question, my iPad's about to die, so I'm gonna really quick open up a laptop so that I can read the comments even after my iPad dies. So 1 second, I'm gonna start stirring, I promise, Catherine. I'm gonna start stirring any second now. There we are. There we are. Okay, so I'm stirring. Thank you, Laura. So we're gonna stir for 3 minutes. So if anybody has any questions about what we're doing, I'll kind of go over some of these things, but if anybody has any questions, now's a great time to ask me. This driftwood I bought on Etsy probably 5 or 6 years ago. I don't even know, maybe even longer. And I've just got this huge bag full. So I know that you can probably find some driftwood on Etsy. You can probably find some on Amazon and on eBay. And if you live near a lake or someplace that, you know, you can normally find stuff like that, you could just go out and get some free ones, right? Free ones. All right, the shells I have just been collecting, and people send me shells all the time. So, you know, just collect some when you vacay, and you'll never have to buy shells. So much fun. And I don't even know where these rocks came from that I made this bird out of. They're just in my stash. Just a rock stash. Just a rock stash. Okay, I was trying to think of my brain just completely stopped thinking. Completely. Do you ever do that? Just you're right in the middle of a sentence, and I'm trying to remember if I know I took a screenshot of the winner, and I can't remember who it is. It's driving me crazy. Promise. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear about your dad, mom, and sister. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry, Terry. That has to be so hard. I cannot even imagine. I'm trying, Catherine. My brain is going in 100 different directions. Oh, Lisa, it's hot here too. If it's hot in Massachusetts, you know it's hot in Mississippi. You know it is. It's almost too hot to even go outside. 600 something, Devin, the note. Actually, the note might be in my notebook. They took my notebook too. Y'all, I don't even know what to say. If Kristen or Courtney are on this live, maybe they will share. We wrote it down in a notebook, the name and the number. And now, I guess I'll have to go get it once we're done. But I screenshot it in my phone, but now I'm using my phone to video. So that's where my brain is this day. I may go get it before we resin. It's gonna drive me crazy. I think that's why I keep stopping stirring, and it's why I keep getting sidetracked, because I'm like, I know that number. Why is it not in my head? I know, has Catherine already told me time? Oh, there it is. Thank you, Catherine. All right, give me 1 second. I'm gonna go get the notebook, I hope, and y'all, I don't want to spend an hour looking for that. I don't know where the notebook is. I'm gonna find that out. 650 was too high. I do know that. I'm thinking it was, I don't want to say the number that I think it was, because if it's wrong, I'm going to be in trouble. So I'm just going to, the minute we're done here, I'm going to text. Let me see if I can text right now. Do you remember the number of brushes and winner? All right, let's go ahead while I just texted Courtney. So hopefully she's gonna respond to that. I'm gonna go ahead and start putting the resin on. I'm gonna do the glass first, as always. That's the most important part. And we'll wait and see if I get an answer. She's probably thinking, girl, I'm off the clock, leave me be. She got kids, trying to feed. No idea. All right, I'm just putting the resin on the glass. I'm gonna move this one just for a second, and then I'll put it back. I wanna make sure to get underneath. And then I'll stick it back. Almost done. She's not responding to me. Of course, I did it from my laptop, and so I don't know if it'll even go through. All right, we're done with the glass. I probably could have just done an ounce. Let me smear this around. Use my finger. Then we're gonna add a thin layer of resin to the whole top. I'm just gonna dump some out. Just smear it around. And then we're gonna hit it with the dryer or the heat gun real quick too. Because once I get that driftwood in, I don't wanna blow the heat on it or just the air, because those things like send out like dust or little wood particles. It's like making a mess. All right, a little bit more. Definitely 1 ounce would have been fine. I'm already seeing I have too much. I hate wasting that too. All right, I'm gonna wipe my hands off and let's hit that with our heat gun. Heat gun, pop the bubbles. I see a little bit of debris, probably from that driftwood. And I see a couple skippies, so I'm just gonna add a little bit of resin in those areas. And I think, I'm gonna take my gloves off. Hopefully that'll be okay. This is, what was my centerpiece? This one? Yeah. All right, I'm gonna put my centerpiece in. That's the one that my bird's sitting on. So I'm gonna get him in and scooched right in the right spot for his feetsies. All right, and this one on this side, really close. I'll move all that stuff in a minute. And then this one, this is the one, I never do the sides. Never, ever. It's a personal choice as an artist, but I never do my sides. All right, I'm gonna tuck that one in. Now I'm gonna grab, you can use a toothpick, you can use whatever, I can use my popsicle stick. Let me do that. And I'm gonna move my shells back. I'm gonna hold on to this real quick, and then I'm gonna move some of this glass and these shells to where my driftwood meets the glass, so it kind of disguises that end. All right, so we'll add a few little pieces. Might grab another shell. And then these pieces down here need to go up a little. So we'll add that. And I'm just gonna scooch them. Just scooch them around. Then I'm going to add my bird that we made. Look how cute. How sweet, Donna. All right, so I'm gonna put my bird. Oh, I dropped that in almost the perfect spot. Look at that. How cute is that? All right, let me show you this close up. We're gonna add a few more things, but look how cute. How cute is that? All right, I have some sea glass. You always put sea glass on top of resin, because if you cover it completely, it loses that frosty effect. So I have a couple of pieces of green. Let me show you what I have. I have a blue piece, a couple of green, like Coke bottle color, and then some clear. So I'm just gonna add a few on top of the resin. Let me add a little scoop of resin right there. And then add this little piece. There we go. And I got some, I love these little teeny tiny ones. So we're gonna add those just here and there, right on top. This one's a little bigger. I'm just gonna add that here. And then let's add a few of the little baby ones and be done. And here. All right, I think I need a couple more just little itsy bitsy shells. I feel like it's a little nakey down there, so let me see what I can find. I don't want big pieces, I want little bits, and I want irregular things, not just your typical shell. This one's kind of cute. It's just a little piece of a shell, so I think we'll add that. Like, let's tuck her in right there. And I'm gonna add the tiniest bit of resin on top of that shell, just to make sure it is secure. And hang on, I'm scavenging in my box. Scavenging. Oh, I like this one. Look at that. Hang on. This one's super cute too. It's just like a broken little bit. So we're gonna add that right in here. And I'll put a little bit of resin on top of that. Try to avoid my sea glass. And I think I'm pretty happy with that, y'all. Is that not cute? I feel like it needs something else in the sky, and I also see debris. So I'm gonna get that out. Little, it's probably from the driftwood, just little specks of brown. What else? Anything else? This is so cute. Let me turn it so you can see it the right way. Hang on. I've got resin everywhere, y'all. What is happening? What is happening? If there's resin here. Look how stinking cute. Hang on. Is that not cute? I feel like it's missing something. I wish I had done like a little sun or something. But look at that bird. Look how cute that is. Little bits of shell and glass, some driftwood, and a little bird. I love this so much. Love it, love it. I gotta wipe my fingers. A flying seagull, I don't know what I'd make it out of. Like a piece of glass, you mean? Like a bird way off in the distance, like the V-shaped birds that we do, you think? So cute. And it's so simple. So stinking simple. All right, let me see. I can't think of what else, so I think I'm just gonna leave it. Sometimes less is more. Okay, Courtney says, she told me where the notebook is. And, okay, so the winner, and I will also post this, but the number was 627. Did anybody here guess 627? That is how many brushes was in the bin. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it like it is. So stinking cute. Very simple.